everyone, Laura the Librarian here, TGIF, and today we're going to talk about vacation reads. Now, some of you might be saying, vacation? When am I ever going to go on vacation again? Right? But even if you can't make it to the beach and read your little beach book, or go whatever other place you sometimes go, one of the best ways to turn a staycation into a really good vacation is to set aside time to read. We're going to get this out of the way first. I love to check out a craft book and think, I've got time off, I'm going to do all the crafts in the book, and then you look at it and you go, this is beautiful, and I could absolutely totally do this. And then you say, but I'm not. And then you move on. I don't usually read crime books, but one of my favorite authors for the beach or other downtime is Jeffrey Deaver. This is The Bone Collector. It's the first one in his series about Lincoln Rhyme, who is a quadriplegic former policeman who now does detective work for the police department. They're awesome. They're super fun. They're full of little clues and also some really gross stuff. Sometimes things are gross. Anyway, there are a million of these and he keeps writing them, so there's always one to read on the beach. Sometimes when you're on vacation, you just want your fiction to be friendly and gentle. I love the #1 Ladies Detective Agency series by Alexander McCall Smith. He also just keeps writing these, so there's always another one to read. It's just a lady in her hometown, and she solves mysteries, and she stands up to guys who think she's not going to be any good at her job, and she has a very low-key romance with the guy who works at the garage. It's awesome. I read graphic novels and comics a lot, all the time, but I especially love to read them on vacation because they're often fun and they're sometimes a little bit less complicated than some of the more involved fiction or nonfiction that I like to read. Go straight to a superhero. This is one of the recent comic book series about Hawkeye. Very different from how he is portrayed in the Avengers movies by Matt Fraction and David Aja. And it's just one of the best runs of comics recently. It's super funny. The characters are all great. He has a dog. The recent run of Archie, that was started by Mark Waid and Fiona Staples, is so good because it's like the Archie you remember, but a little bit more grown up and polished. It feels more like a young adult book of today than just sort of wacky hijinks, but neither is it Riverdale. Still has enough lightness and sweetness and friendly, fresh high school and another great run of comics. Sometimes vacation is the perfect time for audiobooks. I find audio a really great time to listen to books that you maybe wouldn't otherwise read. This was the first Stephen King that I ever read because, in my opinion, it depends more on the reader and how they engage you into the story than necessarily what the story is. Anyway, Joyland by Stephen King, read by the amazing Michael Kelly, who you might recognize from House of Cards. Fantastic. It's not too long either. It's a good one. Another one of my favorite things to read on vacation is memoirs, especially when you know they're going to be funny. One of my favorite memoirs is Mindy Kaling's Why Not Me? It's just a bunch of fun little stories about her life and stuff that comes out of her imagination, and she's just so infectiously funny and a little bit sarcastic. I love Mindy. She's great. This is an awesome book. Jim Gaffigan, who's one of my favorite comedians. One of the last times that my family kind of traveled all together, dad, mom, brother, sister, we all read Dad is Fat. We passed it around, and it got to the point where one of us would just be giggling nonstop in the waiting area at the airport, and then someone else would have to go, which part are you at? Which part are you at? Which part are you at? Because it's so funny. A great one to share with family. A great one to just sort of laugh your troubles away. Jim Gaffigan. And then finally, if you know anything about me, you know that I love to read young adult books. And when I'm on vacation, I love to read YA books that are even frothier than you might expect me to read. So one from my own teenagerhood, The Princess Diaries by Meg Cabot. This series is so funny. It just is. It's this little internal monologue of this girl who doesn't know who she is and feels really awkward, and she doesn't think she has a place in the world, but she does, because She's so herself. Anyway, this is the first in the series. There's a bunch of these too, including a more adult novel that came out just a few years ago called Royal Wedding? Anyway, it was about her wedding. Super. So this is The Heir by Kira Cass, and you just have to imagine a bachelor type scenario in a princessy United States where that's how they choose the wife for their prince. I know it sounds silly, but it's like pretty dresses and girl friendships and maybe we're falling in love, and it's just fun and great. This is the fourth one in the series, so we get to be daughter of the original couple, and so then it gets flipped around where the bachelors come and she's the bachelorette. All right, I hope you found something great to read on your next vacation or staycation. And I want to know what you like to read on vacation. Let me know in the comments. Any case, have a good Friday. See you next week.